Sports are back. But of course, welcome back to Sports Paws, the go-to highlight show for Quinnipiac's 21 Division I teams. And it's only the second week of school, but we've got highlights, in-studio analysts, and the top plays of the week. Let's get it going. Hello everyone and welcome back. Back to school means back to fall sports. And first we'll take you over to the rugby field. Quinnipiac faced Harvard over the long weekend on home turf, but before we take it to the action, here's a look at the history between the two. Quinnipiac won 3 straight titles from 2015 to 2017, and last year was not Quinnipiac's year. The Bobcats lost to the Crimson 3 times last season, including the semifinals. But let's see the highlights from the weekend. Did the streak continue for Quinnipiac? Let's find out. Roll the tape. Quinnipiac comes out of the game blazing hot as sophomore Allison Koning gets her first try of the season in less than a minute into the game. There we go. Quinnipiac versus Harvard, a long history like I said before. Quinnipiac so far on a losing streak from last season, but let's see how they fared over the weekend. Sophomore Allison Koning gets her first try of the season in less than a minute into the game. Quinnipiac leads 5-0. You see her, she just topples them down. Look at her go, all the way down the field. Slides in, and that puts Quinnipiac up 5-0. Harvard comes right back though and gets their first try from Cassidy Bargel 11 minutes into the first half. Harvard now leads 5-7 after a successful conversion. 5 minutes before the second half, Ariana Romero would score her first try. This would lead to Harvard going into halftime leading 26-5. A pretty big margin we got going on now. Second half, Harvard does not stop there as Delia Hanlander scores 5 minutes after the second half starts. Harvard now leads 33-5. The gap just keeps getting bigger, and after a successful 2-point conversion. However, Quinnipiac starts to show a little fight in them as they keep pushing and score to get their 10th point and try, scored by freshman Erin, let's get this right, Terwigler, with 9 minutes remaining. Harvard still shows they are a dominant team though, as Ariana Romero scores her second try here after she gets the last second with 2 minutes remaining. Harvard now leads 52-10 after another 2-point conversion. Harvard wins 57-10 and beats Quinnipiac for the 4th time in a row. Here's Becky Carlson after the game.
We talked about it all week. It was something we wanted to do defensively, was get off the line and push them, and then that's when we saw there was a 1-try difference for a good 20 minutes, and that's something that we were excited about. And it's not that we were expecting it to be. It's not that we were expecting there to be consecutive tries, but we really were pushing off the line, and defensively I thought we did well. Didn't hold possession, but as you could see, I think our momentum changed so many times. You could even hear the crowd out there. It was like, yes, no. It's like we just couldn't hold on to those really good moments and make something out of the work that we were doing once we pushed it past the 50.
Meanwhile, the men's soccer team opened up their season on the road on Thursday at Boston College, and like the rugby team, took a loss. A tough out-of-conference matchup for the Bobcats, the Eagles took this one 2-0. But MAC preseason player of the year, Eamon Whalen, had 5 shots but only 2 on goal. Durick with a shot and goalie Jared Mazzoli with 4 saves. French and Lehman were the scorers for BC. Now we take you over to another game a couple days later, yesterday actually. The team drew a tie with UMass Lowell. UMass Lowell scored in the 13th minute of the game, but the Bobcats came back in the last 5 minutes of the first half to score 2 of their own. Another UMass Lowell goal in the second half led to double overtime, and sudden death wasn't all that scary. 2-2 was the final. But now this team is missing some of their best talent. Earlier in January of this year, one of the players, Rashawn Daly, was drafted to the Major League Soccer's FC Cincinnati, and the team lost 2 captains to graduation. Jonathan Banks has more.
A team loses 2 of their captains and a player who has since started and scored in Major League Soccer to graduation. Usually, that would spell the end of a championship window. The Bobcats were 1 goal away on their home field last year from the NCAA tournament. but with the new additions to their roster, this team looks primed to make the jump to MAC glory. I've seen a lot of new players I've been impressed by in Quinnipiac's first 2 games, and most players look like they fill a need on the roster. For me, the first order of business this year is to find a replacement for Rashawn Daly. Daly has gone on to start 6 games for FC Cincinnati in Major League Soccer, and he even scored in the start against the Houston Dynamo. Finding one player to fill this role is nearly impossible. Daly has great technique, vision, and can stretch it back forward with his intelligent runs in behind. It looks like the Bobcats will take a committee approach to replacing the pro, and that's definitely the right thing to do. Romain Danilou is a creator who can pick out a pass as well as anyone in the conference and can add a goal-scoring threat with his runs from midfield. He's done this multiple times last year and scored against UMass Lowell with a late run that no one on the Riverhawks could pick up. Thomas Fecula had 2 assists against UMass Lowell and looks like a player who makes good decisions in the final third. He can make an immediate impact with his strength and eye for a pass. When the Bobcats want to play more direct, Jason Budai has a lot of pace to burn and is a known goal-scoring threat in his youth days. His mazy run in overtime against UMass Lowell almost turned into a winner for the Bobcats. Brage Asen looks like a technical player who, just like Budai, has no fear in taking players on. The Bobcats have made plenty of quality additions to replace Daly, while Doman Bozic looks a real talent, and Henry Wygant is a towering presence at the back who's good in the air and with the ball at his feet. Those 2 players have different styles than the departed Matthew Taylor and Derek Parker, but both look the part and can contribute right away. Even with some key losses, there might not be a more exciting time than right now for Bobcat Nation.
Coming up on Sports Paws, a Q30 women's soccer beat reporter joins me live to talk about the team's success or failure. Find out. Plus, the top 3 plays of the week. Stick around.
One in 3 adults has pre-diabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your favorite brother, your other brother, you, your football buddy, your football buddy, you, the boss's boss. If 1 in 3 adults has pre-diabetes, that means it could be you, your barber, your barber's barber.
Nice work. Thanks.
You, your plumber,
Breathe right into your foot.
your plumber's masseuse.
Yes.
You, your dog walker,
On your left.
your cat jogger. Or you, your co-pilot, your co-pilot's co-pilot. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org to know where you stand.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average 4-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
The women's soccer team opened up their season in a thriller overtime winner against URI. It was a rainy day in Hamden last Wednesday, and here you'll see a lot of slipping and sliding. First half was pretty quiet, but it was in the second half when Quinnipiac's Kelsey Goldring scored her 2nd straight goal of the season in the 77th minute. At the end of the day, URI took 4 shots and QU took 11. URI fouled 17 times and QU fouled 9 times. The final, 1-0 Quinnipiac. And the winning continues. The team traveled to Maryland to face Loyola University. There you see the game came from 3 of Quinnipiac's freshmen, each with a goal apiece. Meanwhile, Loyola could only find the back of the net once. This win marks a 3-0 start to the Bobcats season, which is the best starting record since 2012. And joining me live, Roberto Casillas, Q30's women's soccer beat reporter. And I hear you know the game of soccer pretty well?
Maybe a little bit.
All right, we'll see. So first question, who has surprised you the most? Only 3 games into the season, but who has been the biggest surprise so far?
Okay, so I could have gone a couple different ways with this answer. Obviously, 3 freshmen have stood out. Megan Phillips on goal, Olivia Scott with 4 points in the game against Loyola. But I'm going to go with Michaela Baileri. She has been phenomenal in that midfield position for the Bobcats. Not only has she been a fantastic addition to the team, but she's also replacing 2 key players from last season. Megan Barowick and Jess Gargan both led the team as seniors last season, and Baileri has done a phenomenal job holding that box-to-box position in the midfield really well. She gave the winning assist in overtime to Kelsey Goldrin to win against Bryan in the first game of the season, and she scored her first goal of the season and as a Bobcat the last game against Loyola. She reminds me a little bit of Rose Lavelle, U.S. Women's National Team champion. That midfield position that she played in the World Cup, it's a little bit of what I've been seeing from Baileri in the first games of the season. So yeah, I've been thoroughly impressed with her, and she's done a fantastic job.
Roberto, I know you do your research, so I did a little bit of my own. Women's soccer is the only fall sport on campus with a winning record. What has been the reason for such early success?
I'm going to go ahead and say defense, and here's where I'm going to give a little props to the other 2 players I mentioned. Megan Phillips, the freshman goalie, has been outstanding during the first 3 games. 18 shots on goal, only 1 goal allowed, and some of these saves, the ones against Bryan, there were 2 saves, especially one in the second half, where she was 1-on-1 against the forward for Bryan, and she tipped the ball with her feet, and that's the main reason why the game went to overtime, and Quinnipiac was able to win the game. Last year, the team started the season 1-2, and they gave up 6 goals to only 5 scored. This year, it's been completely different. They scored those same 5 goals, but they've only allowed 1, and that's why I think it's a big reason that the team has started 3-0. The defense has certainly been great.
Conference play coming up at the end of this month. Do you think this team will keep on winning?
I really believe they are. Even last year, they finished 6th on the MAC, and I think they played a lot better than the record. They just didn't take the chances that they had in many of the games. This team has started 3-0 without arguably their best player. Selena Salas still hasn't played a single game this season, and when she comes back, she'll probably be the key to that attacking, and that attacking line will just get better and complement the defense. Also, in the preseason poll, the team was voted as to finish number 2 on the MAC, so probably you can hope for good things from them this season.
Great stuff, Roberto. Thank you. And their next game is tomorrow at Harvard. Kickoff is at 4 p.m. And finally, for some field hockey, the team started their season with 2 home exhibition games before flying out to sunny California. On Friday, Quinnipiac faced the California Bears, and the Bobcats fell a little short in this one, losing 5-1. But Worrell had 15 saves, 4 goals allowed, while California's goalie Dalton had 6 saves and 1 goal allowed. Then at the University of California, Davis, the game was over in the first half when UC Davis's Nicola Prebel scored the lone goal. QU's goalie had 3 saves. Worrell now has 18 saves throughout her first 2 games, averaging 9 saves per game. But maybe third time's the charm? Stanford Field Hockey says no, who is also ranked 21st in the nation. Quinnipiac's Jess Haley scored her first career goal in the second half, but it just wasn't enough. This ends Quinnipiac's road trip in California, and Stanford takes this one 4-1. And in case you forgot, the best way to end Sports Paws is with some of the top plays of the week. And tonight, we have the top 3. Roll it. 1 week covered and a whole lot more to go, but here we go with the top 3 plays of the week. Number 3 is Rugby, Harvard, home. Harvard up already 45-10, 2 minutes remaining. The Harvard Crimson break all the Bobcat tackles and goes in to score a try for the game. Number 2, women's soccer versus URI. Played in the rain, that's a pretty tough matchup already. QU up 1-0 here, but a nice kick up the field. URI shot to steal the game to be 2-0 to the start of the season. And for the top play of the week, we're going back to women's soccer against URI. A real nice save here. Flew by pretty quick there, so let's see it again, slow-mo, zoom in a little bit. You'll see the knee go up, almost right into the corner, but the goalie stretches out and makes a really nice save. Thanks for joining me on this quick episode of Sports Paws, and shout out to all of the producers and everyone behind the scenes for all of this top-tier coverage. Be sure to check out our website at q30tv.com and our Twitter at q30sports for the latest in Quinnipiac Athletics. See you next Monday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern.